Hey guys, it's Miss A. Today we're going to be looking at a multiplication chart. Did you know that you could use a multiplication chart not only to multiply, but also to divide and to simplify fractions? It's a pretty cool tool. In this one piece of paper you can do all three of those things. So let's start, and we're going to talk about each and every one of those. The first thing, which is the obvious way this chart is used, is to multiply. So let's go over that in case you've never used one before. If we want to multiply 9 times 4, you would find 9 and 4, or you could reverse it. You could use this 9 and this 4, doesn't matter. And then all you do is you go down and across until those two lines meet. And then wherever they meet, that is your answer. So 9 times 4 is 36. If I wanted to do 7 times 6, I would find 7 and 6. I would go across and down until they meet, and that number is 42. 7 times 6 is 42. All right, another thing we could do is to divide. So let's say we had the division problem, 48 divided by 8. So what we would do here is we would go to the 8 column, because that's what we're dividing by, and we would go down until we find the number 48. So here's my 8, go down till you find 48. Here it is. So to get your answer, you just go directly across and you get the answer of 6. All right, if we had, let's say 63 divided by 7, okay, I could set it up like this, 63 divided by 7. I would now go to my 7 column, go down until I find 63, which is here, and then go directly over to get my answer of 9. Now those are basic facts that you should hopefully know and memorize by now, but it also helps, it really is helpful whenever you're doing longer division. So let's say we had the number 456 and we were dividing it by 12. Now this only works if you're dividing by a number 1 through 12. Even though you could extend this out further if you wanted to, you can make it as big as you wanted, but and for my chart that I have, it'll only help me if I'm dividing by a number up to 12. So we know that 12 can't go into 4, so I could put a little 0 here. And now I'm looking at 12 into 45. So I'm going to go to my 12 column and I'm looking for the number closest to 45 without going over. So I have 24, 36, 48. It's a little bit too big, so it goes 36, which is, go all the way over, 3. And then I can subtract. That gets me 15 minus 6 is 9. Bring down your 6, and now we're looking at 12 into 96, if I can talk. So we go to the 12 column, we're looking for 96 without going over, so I would go all the way down until I find 96, which is there, which is the number 8. Now, I'm not saying you have to use a multiplication chart to divide, but if you're one that struggles with division, like you struggle with knowing how many times does 12 go into 45 or how many times does 12 go into 96, whatever it may be, then this is a tool that's going to be extremely helpful for you. All right, so we can multiply, we can divide, and the last thing, which I think is probably the coolest thing that it can do, is actually simplify fractions. So let's say I had the fraction 8 over 12, and I wanted to reduce this to simplest form. So what I could do is I could divide the numerator and denominator by a common factor, which would be 4. But if you struggle with knowing those facts, what you could do is find the number or the fraction 8 and 12 somewhere on top of each other. They have to be on top of each other. They can't be, you can't use 8 here and then 12 over here because they're separated. So if I look, I see 8 over 12 is right here in the 4 column, 8 over 12. So to simplify it or reduce it, all I do is I go all the way over to the left. So 2 over 3 is the simplified fraction. All right, if I had, let's do 28 and 32. So if I had 28 and 32, I would find that somewhere on my chart, which would be right here, 28 and 32. Again, they have to be in the same column. Now you also could do them side by side, like we could use this 28 and 32 because they are in the same row, or they can be in the same column. I like to do them in the same column because they're on top of each other like a fraction is written. So 28 over 32, to simplify it or reduce, whatever phrase you want to use, go all the way to the left and we get 7 over 8, 7/8. All right, we'll do a couple more. 18 over 30. So 18 over 30. Now we notice that if you look anywhere in this chart, you're not going to find 18 and 30 directly on top of each other. But if you look right here in the 6th column, you do have an 18 and a 30 kind of close, okay? So what we're going to do is we can still reduce that. We're just going to make sure we don't use that 24 in the middle. So 18 goes all the way down to 3. And then the 30 goes all the way down to 5. So what we're doing here is we're actually just dividing, we're simplifying it by the common factor. That common factor of 18 and 30 is the factor of 6. So 18 divided by 6 is 3. 30 divided by 6 is 5. So it's the same process, it just gives it to you in a visual form here. All right, let's do one more. 12 over 36. And the reason I chose this last one is because if you look at this chart, you're going to find it in a couple different spots. You can find it here, 12 over 36. You could find it here, 12 and 36 way down here at the bottom. Or you could find them right here, pretty close together. So whenever you're reducing, you want them to be as close together as possible. So when I see that I have 3 different options here, I'm going to pick the ones that's closest together. But let's pretend that I didn't see that, and let's pick the one right here first, 12 and 36. So if I were to reduce that using this column, 12 would go down to 2, and 36 would go down to 6. But this fraction is not in simplest form. We would need to reduce it one more time. So then we could find 2 over 6 right here. 2 over 6 reduces down to 1 over 3. So this is the simplest form, 1/3. Now, if we didn't use these spaced out ones like I mentioned earlier, where was it, 12 and 36 here, if we use the ones that were closest together, right here in the 12 column, if I were to simplify this fraction, 12 over 36, all the way across would get me 1, and then all the way across would get me 3, which is what my simplest form was. So the closer together they are on the chart, the less you're going to have to simplify. And again, we just simplified it by that common factor. So 12 and 36, that common factor was 12. 12 divided by 12 got me 1. And 36 divided by 12 got me 3. So I just want to show y'all real quick how to use this tool to, the multiplication chart, to not only multiply, but also to divide, and what I think is the coolest part, simplify fractions. Makes that a little bit easier on you. Hopefully you find this helpful. If y'all have any questions, let me know. Bye, guys.